They grew up on the same street, with the same cracked sidewalks, the same corner store, and school uniforms faded from too many washes. To everyone, Malik and Jordan were inseparable. Two young black teens moving through life like brothers, even though they shared no blood. But blood wasn't what broke them. Pain was. Malik was the quieter one. He listened more than he spoke, felt things deeply, and carried his emotions like fragile glass he was afraid to drop. Jordan was fire-loud, confident, always ready to defend himself even before he was attacked. They were different, but together they balanced each other perfectly. Until one mistake, one single moment tipped the scale and changed everything. It happened so fast, one bad decision, one moment of overwhelming fear. An incident at school money went missing from a teacher's bag. Security got involved, questions were asked, and the pressure in that small office felt heavy enough to crush you. And when Jordan felt cornered, when he felt the walls closing in, he pointed at Malik. "I saw him near the desk," Jordan said. Those 6 words landed like stones, shattering the trust they had built over a lifetime. Malik didn't even understand what was happening at first. He let out a nervous laugh, waiting, just waiting for Jordan to take it back, to say it was a joke. But Jordan never did. Malik was suspended. His mother cried that night, a sound that hurt more than any punishment the school could give. His reputation, once spotless, shifted overnight. He went from being the quiet kid to being that asterisk kid. Jordan went home free. Malik went home broken. Days blurred into weeks. The street that once felt like family, like home, became a constant, painful reminder of betrayal. Malik started avoiding Jordan, changing his route, ducking into stores, but the pain followed him everywhere. It was a shadow he couldn't outrun. At night, he'd lie awake, replaying that moment over and over, trying to understand how someone he trusted, someone he loved like a brother, could hurt him so deeply. Anger came easily. It was hot and loud and felt like a shield. Forgiveness, on the other hand, felt impossible. Jordan, for his part, told himself he did what he had to do to survive. In those first few days, the relief felt good. No punishment, no angry lectures from his parents. Life just moved on, so he thought. But guilt is a patient thing. It doesn't scream, it waits. It started showing up late at night, when the noise of the day finally died down. It showed up when he saw Malik walking alone on the sidewalk where they used to walk together. It showed up in his dreams, where he kept trying to speak, to explain, but no sound would come out. Still, Jordan refused to apologize. He hardened his heart against the guilt. "I didn't ruin his life," he'd tell himself, his voice a harsh whisper in the dark. "He'll get over it." He convinced himself that's just how the world works. It's tough, and you do what you have to. But the truth was, Jordan was slowly becoming someone he didn't recognize. He got angrier, louder, more defensive about everything. He laughed more, but he felt less. The weight he thought he had avoided by not telling the truth had simply settled onto his chest, quietly, invisibly, getting heavier every single day. Malik was carrying his own weight to every day. A bitter voice whispered to him, hate him, expose him for the liar he is, make him feel what you felt. And honestly, a part of Malik wanted too. He craved that revenge. Forgiveness felt so unfair. It felt like letting Jordan walk free a second time without any consequences. Why should he be the one to offer grace when he was the one who was wronged? But one night, after watching his mother pray through her tears, asking for strength, not for herself, but for him, Malik felt something inside him shift. He looked at the anger he was holding onto so tightly and realized it wasn't protecting him. It wasn't a shield. It was a poison, slowly seeping into every part of his life. So Malik made a decision that hurt more than holding on. He chose to forgive. He didn't do it because Jordan deserved it. He didn't even know if Jordan was sorry. He did it because Malik deserved peace. He deserved to be free from the anger that was eating him alive. Forgiveness didn't arrive with a smile or a sudden, miraculous healing. It came with tears. It came with long walks alone, trying to untangle the hurt in his chest. It came with prayers that sounded more like desperate questions than statements of faith. But slowly, gradually, Malik started to feel lighter. The memory still hurt, it still stung, but it no longer controlled him. He was taking his power back. Jordan noticed the change before Malik ever said a word. Malik stopped avoiding him. He stopped glaring across the schoolyard. The burning anger in his eyes was gone, replaced by something calmer, something settled. Then one day, in the hallway between classes, Malik looked him directly in the eye and simply said, "I forgive you." Jordan froze. He was expecting yelling. He was expecting a confrontation, maybe even revenge. He was prepared for continued silence. But he was not prepared for mercy. That simple act of forgiveness broke him in a way that anger never could have. Everything Jordan had buried for months, the shame, the regret, the suffocating fear of it came rushing to the surface. But instead of relief, he just felt exposed. Malik's forgiveness forced him to finally face the ugliness of what he'd done, and he hated it. He hated the feeling. He muttered a weak, barely audible "okay" and quickly walked away. And that's where their paths truly, finally split. But Malik kept healing. He poured his energy into school. He found his voice again. He even started mentoring younger kids who reminded him of his quiet, observant self. Forgiveness didn't erase his pain, but it freed his future from being defined by it. He was moving forward. Jordan kept running. Without the courage to accept the forgiveness he'd been given, or the strength to forgive himself, he just grew harder. His lies multiplied to cover the first one. Trouble seemed to follow him like a shadow. His relationships crumbled because trust became impossible for him to give or receive. The very same forgiveness that could have been his lifeline now haunted him, a reminder of the better person he had failed to be. Years passed. One afternoon, they crossed paths again in their old neighborhood. Malik stood taller not because his life was perfect, but because he was whole. He had faced his pain and integrated it. He was at peace. Jordan, on the other hand, looked tired. He looked much older than his years. His shoulders slumped as if still carrying that invisible weight. It was Jordan who finally spoke the truth that day. His voice cracked as he recounted the story, the real story. His eyes burned with years of unshed tears and regret. Malik just listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't judge. He just let him speak. When Jordan finally finished, his confession hanging in the air between them, Malik nodded slowly. "I forgave you a long time ago, Jordan," Malik said softly. "The problem is, you never forgave yourself. And that was the difference. That was the lesson etched into their two lives. Forgiveness had healed the one who offered it. But the refusal to accept it, the refusal to let go of the guilt, had trapped the one who rejected it. Their story echoes a profound truth. Forgiveness doesn't excuse the other person's behavior or erase the pain they caused. It releases the prisoner. And so often, the prisoner is us. If you're watching this right now and you're holding onto a hurt, a betrayal, a deep wound, I know forgiveness can feel unfair, even impossible. But I promise you, holding onto that anger, that bitterness, will cost you far more than letting it go ever will. Choose peace. Choose freedom. Choose to let go. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content like this. Take care of yourselves.